Hey guys, it's Cedric Dan here, back again for another recent pickups video for you guys. Today we're going to be covering everything else I picked up in the month of October. I picked up so much that I had to split it up, so I did a part talking about all the retro stuff I picked up in October, so you can check that out if you haven't. And in this part we're going to be covering all the more modern, current stuff that I picked up, so let's go ahead and jump into it because there's a lot of stuff. Okay, and the first thing I have to talk about right away, just because I'm a gigantic fan of the series, I'm a big Tales of fan, so of course I had to pick up Tales of Zestiria. Picked up the collector's edition. Of course, I've done an unboxing on this, so you can check that out to check out all the wonderful contents in the set. Really cool collector's edition with tons of cool goodies. Definitely get your money's worth. But let's move on to the game. Moving on to the game itself, we have Tales of Zestiria here for the PS4, also available on the PS3. I was really looking forward to this. I'm a huge Tales of fan, obviously, and I really like Tales of Zestiria. I put in about almost 30 hours now. And I do have to say, I do think this is the best Tales of game since Tales of Vesperia. And I have to say, I think this is a really great sign that the series is heading in a really interesting and really good direction. So I hope this is a sign of things to come with future Tales of games. But I love, first of all, the classic traditional story. Just a traditional kind of RPG story, almost reminiscent of Tales of Fantasia. I know they said they kind of wanted to get back to that kind of classic story. They definitely did. It's a very classic traditional story about these different kinds of races, these two in particular races, and it's really interesting there. And it's about the story about malevolence, corrupting various people and all that, turning into evil beings and stuff like that. And there's like dragons and stuff like that. Just very traditional feeling, even in the environmental design with like the towns, very like traditional kind of medieval European kind of style, very classic feeling RPG. And that's what it is. It feels like a classic RPG with just very modern gameplay. And I do really appreciate and really love the updated kind of battle system and how they changed that up. I really like the idea of like these real-time dynamic battles. So it's like instantaneous now. There's no like glass breaking animation. It's just like once you run into an enemy, a battle's triggered, you're fighting right then and there in dynamically in that location. Very interesting. And what that does is, because sometimes the loading times in between battles, for various RPGs can be kind of significant, and sometimes I avoid battles in RPGs just because, the loading time and all that. And it's like, oh, it's going to take a while to get in a battle. I'll try and fight some enemies here and there. But what's happening with me in Tales of Zestiria is, because of how quick it is, I'm like fighting every enemy. I don't care because it's like instantaneous. I don't have to wait for any load times or anything like that. It's so awesome. I love it. The gameplay, the battle system is your traditional Tales of battle system. It has everything you would expect. It changes it up. It's kind of more Graces inspired, where you don't have to worry about TP so much. It's more about like charging up your kind of gauge and all that, so you can pull off arts and stuff like that. And it does have this new feature, like this transforming feature. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that, but I really like the transforming ability. It's so freaking cool. It's just really awesome to transform and use these different elements. There's a strong emphasis in this game on elements, which again is very traditional RPG, water, fire, earth, wind, traditional stuff like that, and using the elements against certain types of enemies, stuff like that. And you can kind of transform based off like these elements. It's really fun. You get some various unique arts that you can use while you're transformed. It's just a blast to play when you're transformed. It's just a blast in general. The gameplay is really superb, really great. The only issue really is like the camera could be really poor at times, but the camera's usually only really terrible when you're like up against the wall, fighting up against the wall, or in really tight corridors and stuff like that. The camera does a pretty poor job of keeping up, and it's pretty bad at times, but that's only a fraction of the time really, and everything else works great. The environments are huge to explore in here, big dungeons, big just overworld type of areas, and just a really great Tales of game. I really enjoyed the cast of characters. Wonderful characters. I really like the characters. I think some of my favorites are Rose. She's just this really cute kind of traditional girl. And then Lila, who's like this motherly type of character. She's hilarious. I love her. All the characters are so great. I really enjoy this cast of characters. And in general, I think it looks really pretty. And this is just a wonderful Tales of game. And really great sign that the series is heading in a really great direction. So highly recommend Tales of Zestiria if you're a fan of the series, or you're looking for a cool kind of modern action RPG with some classic traditional story elements and stuff like that. Definitely recommend Tales of Zestiria. Great game. Okay, and next we have another PS4 pickup for a pretty popular SRPG series developed by NIS America themselves. So of course I had to pick up Disgaea 5 Alliance of Vengeance. I almost forgot the subtitle. But this is a limited edition here. Of course, I had to pick up the limited edition, and of course I did an unboxing on this, so you can check that out, check out all the wonderful contents in here. So moving on to the game, Disgaea finally makes its appearance on the PS4, the really popular SRPG series from NS America, and unfortunately I haven't played this yet because, you know, I'm past the point of wanting to dabble in games anymore. So this came out, and I knew that Tales of Zestiria was coming out a few weeks after, so the last thing I wanted to do was start playing this game and then get distracted once Tales of Zestiria came out, because I know if that happened I would never come back to Disgaea again because I'd be so addicted to Tales of. So I thought the better thing was to just not play it and wait till I finish Tales of Zestiria, and I'll probably play this after finishing Tales of Zestiria to give it the time it deserves and all that. But in general, I'm not the hugest fan of Disgaea, but I'm really hoping maybe this game can kind of change some of my opinions. There's some adjustments and changes to this game that looks a little more appealing to me, but I'm really looking forward to checking this out. Here we have another PS Vita game that I was really interested in, but unfortunately I haven't had the time to play either because I've been playing another PS Vita game, which I'll probably talk about in next month's recent pickups. But I have here, of course, Party Blood Drive. This is the Ever After edition. I've done an unboxing on this, of course, so you can check out that unboxing and learn more about the cool contents. Really nice looking limited edition though. It has this nice like shiny eyeball and some nice embossment. Really cool XE limited edition as per usual. But I had to pick this up because, one, it's really cool that Corpse Party finally gets a physical copy stateside. This is the first time that Corpse Party has gotten a physical copy stateside, so I had to support that. And it's just a really interesting like survival horror adventure game series that not a lot of people talk about and kind of deserves a little bit more attention. But it's one of those games that has like multiple endings too, so if you're a big fan of that, you'll enjoy this. But it's really twisted too. It's pretty dark and twisted in this series, so I'm looking forward to checking this out, but I don't know when I'll get around to it, but looking forward to it. And next we have a classic 3DS RPG I was really looking forward to that, again, I fortunately haven't had the chance to play because I'm playing another game on the 3DS at the moment. But that is Legend of Legacy. Atlas did an incredible job with the first print on this really gorgeous set. Of course, I've done an unboxing on this. You can check that out to learn more about the contents in this. But in general, Atlas is really stepping up their game with their first prints. Really great stuff. But if you're not familiar with Legend of Legacy, it's basically considered a spiritual successor to the Saga series. It has some staff and all that worked on that series who helped work on this game as well. And you can kind of see like some Bravely Default inspiration with the artwork and especially the in-game visuals. And this has some gorgeous artwork, like the art book has some stunning artwork. But if you're not familiar with Legend of Legacy, just a kind of traditional turn-based RPG. But the one thing is, it's very challenging. It's a very hard game. I've heard it's very, very challenging, very hard. It's one of those games, though, that it kind of gives you freedom, though, because it gives you like this vague main goal. And then you can kind of go explore in the kind of order you want and all that and do stuff how you want. So that's really interesting. But in that sense, it's very, very challenging. And definitely not for everyone. If you're not a fan of like really grind heavy RPGs or brutally challenging RPGs, this probably isn't for you. But if you're familiar with the Saga series, you probably know what to expect. If you're a fan of the Saga series, you should probably definitely check this out. But I'm looking forward to getting around to checking this out. Okay, and next we have a European import actually. This is a PS3 game that I've actually been interested in for quite a while. Although in America we unfortunately did not get a physical copy of this game. It did come out still, but it was digital only. So of course I had to import a European copy, especially since it was pretty cheap, and I've been interested in this game for a while. And that Short Piece, I'm not even going to bother to pronounce that name, but let's just call it Short Piece. Short Piece is an interesting game that I've been interested in for quite a while. It's actually like part like video stuff, like it's a video collection of various like works from various artists and all that, so like animated movies and stuff like that, which is interesting. And then Short Piece, the game itself, is considered like the 5th part of this collection. Really interesting, and the game itself is actually directed by Suda51, so it is an insane game. Like, it's just like one of those crazy, absurd kind of Suda51 style games. It's like a side-scrolling kind of action platformer game. It's really, really strange, so definitely looking forward to checking this out. I might cover this in a future video down the road just because of how interesting it is with the context of like the collection of videos and then the game itself. So there's Short Piece. And next we have a PSP pickup, believe it or not. It's been a long time since I picked up a new PSP game. And the reason is, it's actually because I'm pretty satisfied and pretty happy with my PSP collection. Obviously the PSP was known for a lot of awesome JRPGs, and believe it or not, I'm actually pretty close to having a complete JRPG collection for the PSP back in the day, many, many years ago. I think this was the period when I stopped doing recent pickups for a while. I was buying so many PSP games, just cleaning house on all the RPGs I wanted. But there's still I would say a good dozen or so remaining PSP RPGs that I need. So this was one I decided to pick up because it was dirt cheap, and that's Blazing Souls Acolyte. And I've been interested in this for quite a while. It looks like a really cool traditional strategy RPG, and it looks like it has very similar artwork and probably the same artist for the Record of Agadis War games. But it looks like you're more classic traditional SRPG. I'm a big SRPG fan, so looking forward to checking this out eventually. So there's Blazing Souls. And finally, to wrap up this recent pickups, I have 2 Xbox 360 pickups to share with you guys. Hastings was having a buy one get one free sale, so I decided to take advantage of that. So both of these games combined were like $8 or something, $9. So I thought that was a good time to pick up a couple of games I've been interested in. One is an RPG I needed for my Xbox 360 kind of exclusive RPG collection. I have most of the 360 exclusive RPGs, including the really strange and obscure stuff, but this was one I still needed, and this is available, I believe, on the PC too. So I think it's just a console exclusive, but we have here The Last Remnant. And I actually don't know much about The Last Remnant. I remember seeing, I think, a Game Informer magazine or article on it way back in the day, and it kind of looked interesting to me. It sounded like it had a big emphasis on like these big elaborate battles and stuff like that, but I don't know much about it. I've never really heard too much people talk about it, but it looks kind of interesting to me, so I might check this out eventually. This is one of those cool kind of shiny foil covers too, but there's The Last Remnant. And next we have a 360 game that I've been interested in for quite a while, because over the years I kept seeing this game pop up in like hidden gem 360 episodes or like underrated exclusive 360 games and stuff like that, and I was like, I need to get that game because it actually sounds and looks pretty interesting. It's just one of those things that I think I avoided it for a long time because I'm not the biggest fan of Naruto, and that's not because I don't like Naruto, it's just because I never checked out Naruto. I don't really know anything about Naruto, so I think I kind of wrote off a lot of the games as just being, oh, they're fighting games, but I forgot about these games. And there's 2 of them actually that are kind of in this vein, and this is the first one here, and that's Naruto Rise of a Ninja. This is actually a really cool game. I'm really enjoying this game. It's a really awesome like open world adventure platformer fighting game, and it's really cool because the other Naruto games are mainly fighting games nowadays. It'd be cool to kind of see them return to this style, but this is a really cool kind of open world Naruto game. You play in this really cool, I think it's called Hidden Tree Leaf Village or something like that, and it's a really cool town to explore. Like visually the game looks stunning still, and this was an early 360 game. This game still looks beautiful. It's got this like great kind of filter cell shading going on, very colorful, very beautiful. It looks anime. Really cool how they did that. And the village is really cool. It's interesting, a lot of attention to detail, and so much fun trying to collect all these hidden coins, jumping around buildings and grinding on these things across buildings. This is so much fun exploring the village. There's tons of different things to do. You can do like races and like, you know, hide and seek stuff, and meanwhile you're trying to do all these like main missions and all that. And I'm kind of interested in the story of Naruto after kind of the beginnings that they develop here, because this is, I guess, a good starting point to learn about the series and kind of Naruto and all that. I'm interested in the characters. I like a lot of the characters. Just a lot of fun. The fighting is done like a traditional fighting game, and it's got a lot of depth to it. You can do blocks, you can do various combos. There's tons of combos you can learn. There's like these ninjutsu arts, I think they call them jutsus, and you can do these various arts and all that, and it's really, really cool, really interesting. It's very in-depth there. Just a lot of fun though. Like you're doing platforming sometimes and collecting stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. Really, really awesome, unique little hidden gem here. Don't let the Naruto name deceive you, because I went into this not really knowing anything about Naruto, and still I really enjoyed it because I love these kind of games, these open world kind of platformers, adventure kind of action games and stuff like that. So I'm really surprised, really enjoying it, and definitely check out Naruto. Okay guys, and that pretty much do it, covering all the recent pickups I picked up in October. Definitely a busy month. I picked up a lot of cool stuff, so much so that I had to split up this recent pickups into multiple parts. So I did the first part covering all the recent retro pickups I picked up in October. Definitely a lot of cool stuff in that, so definitely check that out if you haven't. And then obviously this recent pickups covering all the more modern current stuff I picked up. So definitely a fun month, definitely a lot of cool games picked up. As always, be sure to let me know what you guys picked up in the month of October, what you guys are currently playing. Always interested in hearing that. But until next time, please take it easy guys. Bye guys.